We are live and we're going to talk about XRP, Bitcoin, Solana, and Ethereum with a whole lot of other crypto news because there's more treasuries popping up. One of the treasuries we're going to talk about is kind of wild. I don't think the cycle is going to end well for some people, but anyways, that's not my business. I am not here to judge. I don't kink shame, and I also do not shame people with what they decide to do with their money because this is crypto after all. But let's go ahead and get straight into it because there is a lot happening. First and foremost, we got to give shout outs to our TikTok babes, our Twitch babes, our Rumble babes, and of course, YouTube. You guys always show up over here. We've got Mr. Saul, Mr. John Legend, Mr. R, and I'm doing okay, Mark. I'm doing okay. It's been a rough morning, birthday week, not a fun one, but hey, it's better than last year for sure, for sure. Also, we've got a poll at the top. Will the crypto markets correct further? I want to hear yes or no. And yes, RIP Ozzy from Philip. That was just a rough day in general. All right. A rough day in general, but he is a rock and roll icon. I grew up listening to him and it was terrible. It was terrible. But again, he did live out to quite a bit of, he lived a long time considering his history, which was kind of wild. Okay. Now, let's go ahead and get into it. No, I'm still going to be here for my birthday. I'll be streaming, making content because that's what I do. I don't take any time off and I make sure everything gets done for everyone. So I got you guys. Let's go ahead and get into it. You're hungry in Huntington Beach. I'm hungry too. And I'm in the beautiful county of Los Angeles, California. But let's go ahead and get into it. All right. I am 90s baby. All right. First and foremost, what the heck's going on? So we got this article from CoinDesk over here. And if you guys didn't know, I used to work at CoinDesk. I did way back when. Well, not really, but like in 2021-ish, something like that. All right. So Bitcoin, XRP, Solana, and Ethereum witness long squeeze as futures open. Interest slides with prices. So they're saying that Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana dropped in the past 24 hours amid a long squeeze. Long squeezes flush excess leverage, and these are seen as healthy for the market. I'm going to come back to that in a second. They're driven by the unwinding of long positions, not new short positions. So basically, if we're unwinding longs and if we're unwinding leverage and we're not opening new short positions, it is indicating that the market's kind of settling. It's finding support. This is exactly what we want. And a lot of people anticipate that number keeps skyrocketing up. But I made a TikTok earlier and I was talking about this. When we're talking about number just shooting up. Shout out to Sal. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. I appreciate it. Take low out later. But when we're talking about finding common ground, support, etc., that's good. That's exactly what we want to see. Okay. Good morning, gorgeous Alexandra. But why do we want to see that? We want to see that because if number just goes up straight up like this, you can simply do that with any of these Solana meme coins or any of the meme coins. Okay. I miss Pee Wee Herman. I adored him growing up and they did him wrong. But when number goes up like this, generally it's not sustainable and it's going to have a really, really gnarly correction. But if you like that stuff, then you can trade meme coins. There's a lot of volatility there and the average hold time is like 9 minutes, something like that. So this is good. It's good. We're having a bit of a correction. Okay. Now back to the story. Open interest fell during this period while funding rate stayed positive, which shows traders closed longs without adding shorts. So it's kind of like the market's a little bit undecided here, right? Just a little bit undecided. And that's a good thing because and it's not just Ethereum, XRP, Solana, and Bitcoin. It's a lot. It's a lot. And then, of course, we've got this FUD story over here from Fidbold. Ripple to unlock 1 billion XRP on August 1st. Incoming sell-off. These stories are really, really ridiculous. And the thing with XRP is that it even says over here, Ripple's escrow system launched in 2017 ensures a predictable and transparent XRP supply by unlocking 1 billion XRP each month over a 55-month cycle. So these types of stories are kind of silly and ridiculous. The reason why they're silly and ridiculous is because we know this is happening. If you're part of the XRP army, you know what's happening. And it doesn't really impact the market too much. I don't know if anyone's ever gone back and done any technical analysis about this. But at the same time, I haven't really seen it impact the market too terribly much because I feel like it's kind of priced in, right? But I do want to go do a quick market update while we're talking about this, and then we'll get into all the other crypto news because there's a lot. We've got a VeChain story and a brand new project that I also want to touch on too. So hold up. But when we take a look at crypto bubbles, the market's just kind of doing its thing. I don't know. It's glitching. Pump is down 24%. There's some pump.fund drama. I'm not even going to touch into it. We didn't talk about their sale and anything they did over here really on this channel. It just was like an absolute hot mess. But whatever, that's not my business. But let's go ahead and take a look at charts, and then we will go ahead and get into some more news stories because we got some more. But yeah, all those XRP stories about escrow and whatnot, it's not like they're dumping. Like we knew this is what happens. Well, they do dump on the market. Well, they don't dump on the market, but we know that they're unlocking to move the money, to move the XRP around to do different things. So who cares if they sell? That's what you guys bought into, doing your due diligence. Not that big of a deal. Now, Bitcoin is actually up. We're doing nicely. We're consolidating nicely. When I talk about finding really nice support, this is what I mean. We've got great support here, about $115,000. Also, to you guys, if you'd like to trade with me, I'm on Kraken. If you like just regular spot trading. If you like to create custom SEPs, 401ks, IRAs, you can go ahead and do so on Bitcoin IRA. Sometimes those can be a tax tax advantage thing, or you can use Femex if you're a degenerate, right? Yeah, VeChain has been pumping out positive news. Have you not been paying attention? But anyways, we're just kind of undecided really with Bitcoin. It's just kind of going sideways. We're in this range between 115 and 123. Taking a look at our bigger chart over here, we are still above $11,000 support, and we're trying to break back above 120. Ethereum had a drop all the way down to 3,500 and bounce back up, which is really, really nice. We are a little bit overbought over here. Solana is dropping, and it looks like we might break down below 185. SUI is back above 186. XRP is doing just fine. We did have a swing wick low to 296, which again, XRP is really, really, really volatile. It just always has been anytime I've traded it, even in the past. So we broke down below 296, and now we're trading up at about 323. That happens. This is why I also think it's a good idea to set limit orders, because that helps you buy the dip and control your positions. Next, we've got Link bounce. A lot of these charts look the same, right? With those swing wick lows and the price bounce up. 1730, now trading at 1851. Cardano is at 82 cents, and HBAR is holding on to support here at about 22 cents, a little bit weaker than some of the other stuff. Also, Charles H went on X, and he was like he did this thing, and he was like, you got rugged on Pump Fund. Yeah, that's why we didn't really talk about it. We just stayed away from. Well, I stayed away from it. I can't be bothered with it. Now, Charles H actually went on X, because remember, he's on that podcast. Well, he's like, hey, you guys wanted marketing. Here's your marketing. Okay. And it was basically that interview he did got 19 million views, which is really, really cool. That's marketing. But even with 19 million views, price isn't like shooting up like crazy, and just kind of shows the type of market that we're in. So it's good to be patient, good to be patient. And there's a fake Wendio that just joined the live. So make sure you guys block that person, because it's not me. And they're probably going to screen record this and put that on their thing and message you guys and be like, hey, do you have a trading group? No, I don't have a trading group. I'll never ask you for money either. Now, let's go ahead and get back into the news. There's quite a few other things to cover. So we did charts, we did Ripple, more Bitcoin news, and then we got an altcoin news. So hold up. So the U.S. government still holds 198,000 Bitcoin worth $23.5 billion. A recent FOIA revealed that only $3.4 billion, but Arkin confirms the remaining $20 billion is still held across multiple agency wallets. None of it has moved in 4 months. So remember when there was the shout out to JWRNB. Thank you so much for the $9.99 super chat. I really, really, really appreciate it. And thank you so much to Stephen Young for the super chat. I appreciate you. I really, really appreciate it. Lo and I will have a wonderful time this weekend, even though our plans changed a little bit. That's okay. Life happens. You just got to, go with the flow, and next year will be better. But good morning to Alpha Junkies. Thank you, Queen. Now, remember the story that there was rumored that the U.S. government sold a bunch of Bitcoin before the Bitcoin Strategic Reserve? Apparently it's been debunked. I had people ask me about that. We covered it, we talked about it, but I says we need more information. But apparently it's just across different wallets, which is actually better. So Good. We love it. That's fantastic. That's exactly what we want to see. Because people said the Marshal Service and U.S. government are separate entities, meaning it doesn't represent government holdings. But we've got our stuff. And of course, we have a story about Michael Saylor. Michael Saylor's strategy plans to raise $2 billion for Bitcoin purchases, upsizing from $500 million. This is the thing, you guys. Like, I want to just continue to give you guys a lot of wonderful news. Philip, send me that article so we can cover it tomorrow about the Tour's miracle plan to open 29 million reserve XRP. And make sure you guys like this video and share it. So this is the thing with reserves. Well, actually, I'm going to get through all the reserves. And again, Michael Saylor is a traditional financial company. I actually spoke to Business Insider yesterday, and I was telling her, because she's like, well, what about accredited investors, blah, blah. Also today at 2 p.m. PT, there's a potential new bill that would allow for more people to become accredited investors. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. I'm going to need you guys to tune into that. It's going to be really, really important because it's something that we continue to fight. I'm doing great. Thank you. But the thing is, the fact that these people can issue traditional financial products, raise all this money, then buy a finite asset, that should be illegal. It doesn't sound ethical at all. It sounds absolutely crazy, right? But a small business can't create a coin and raise money for their, it's basically the same thing. But with that being said, I think that this will definitely trigger the bear market. It's just getting a little bit too ridiculous. Like this company over here, Game Square Holdings, they acquired the iconic cowboy ape in a 5.15 strategic investment. We also added 10 million Ethereum to our treasury, bringing total Ethereum treasury holdings over to 52 million. Great find. Thank you so much for buying more Ethereum to pump my bags. But buying a CryptoPunk, an NFT, I mean, it's one of the original ones. The values have held really, really well. So I get that. But at the same time, I just don't know. I wouldn't, if I was running a business and I was raising money, had traditional financial products, all those things, I would in fact not be buying NFTs to put there. I just feel like it's too risky, but that's me. Not with other people's money. And then Tron has a treasury now. And then Mr. Tom Lee from Fundstrat, Bitmine, they reached a $2 billion Ethereum club. And they bought more Ethereum, which is crazy. So again, we have all these strategic companies, or these companies that are buying, that are buying all of these crypto assets and putting them on reserves. We talked about an XRP reserve yesterday, which was great, but at the same time, a lot of companies they're taking money out, or they're raising money, and they're having their shareholders, whoever, buy these stocks to buy, so they can buy crypto. But then if the stocks tank, like, it's just, I don't know. It just doesn't seem good. Doesn't seem great. It seems like a good idea right now because everybody's getting really greedy. But at the same time, what happens when the market goes sour? Because it's going to go sour. People are going to lose money. I'm happy because it's pumping our bags, but realistically, and I'm not trying to be a Debbie Downer. I'm just trying to, give some perspective here. But again, I'm with it. Grifter's going to grift, man. We're here to make as much money as ethically as possible. I don't want my 401k used to buy crypto. Then you don't have to use it to buy crypto. Then don't invest in companies that have these treasuries. You have a say in that. For Mr. Nate, iShares Ethereum ETF becomes the third fastest ETF to hit 10 billion in assets. Third fastest ETF to 10 billion, now all spot crypto ETFs. We're talking about an ETF industry that's been around for over 3 decades and is nearly 4,400 products. Basically, he's talking about how successful the Ethereum ETF project, or Ethereum BlackRock's ETF project is. So it's kind of important to take a little bit of note over here as far as Ethereum goes. And that's why the headlines of Ethereum hitting $10,000 or $15,000 doesn't seem too crazy. It doesn't to me. I think that it's very doable. However, I think that Ethereum has a lot of issues as far as a layer 1 goes. And that's why I'm really going to sell 90% of my Ethereum. Now, Franlink Templeton, we've got some story over here with them in VeChain. So Franlink Templeton to bring Benji platform to VeChain for enterprise payments. And this is a big win for VeChain over here. So let's go ahead and talk about it, okay? So Franlink Templeton partnered with VeChain to integrate Benji tokenized platform for enterprise payments. Benji allows for tokenized access to Franlink Templeton's on-chain U.S. government money fund, FOBXX. Competitors to FOBXX include BlackRock's BUIDL and Ondo's short-term U.S. government bond fund. When Benji token equals 1 share of the fund, VeChain's dual token offers predictable, low-cost operations beneficial for money market funds. And this is actually a really, really big story because when we see, silly Susan, When we see, because VeChain is not a U.S. company, which is fine. It's not saying that it's a bad thing in any way, shape, or form. But most of the U.S. companies are in the top 100, and VeChain is also up there as well. So the fact that we're seeing VeChain's technology be utilized the same way that BlackRock would utilize BUIDL, et cetera, and Ondo, that's good. That's positive. So that's telling me that VeChain's got a little bit of alpha there. So I like to see it. Love to see it. So congratulations to the VeChain team. That's a really, really big deal over there. Love it. Now let's get into our next story over here. And we are actually partnered with Uranium.io. Okay. And the reason why we've decided to partner with them is because tokenization is such a big deal. We just talked about VeChain's tokenization and BlackRock's tokenization and Ondo and all those different things. Remember, RWAs equal tokenization. And that's exactly what Uranium.io is doing. So uranium demand is surging due to rising nuclear energy adoption by big tech for AI-powered infrastructure. So we've got AI and we've got tokenization. Governments are also adopting nuclear to meet net zero goals. Uranium is a heavy metal used for fuel and power plants to produce energy. Uranium outperformed S&P 500 by over 3 times over the past 5 years, uncorrelated with commodities like oil, gold, and stocks. And it's ideal for diversification. Some people say this. And historically, it has been inaccessible for retail, which again, we talk a lot about equal opportunity for retail. However, our partners today, Uranium.io, offer the world's first tokenized uranium, XU308. It lets retail buy, own, and trade physical uranium because you guys can't hold that yourself. It's a little bit dangerous. Did you guys know that they used to make pottery and plates with uranium in it way back in the day? I actually have one in the house somewhere. Sorry, segue over there. Anyways, it starts with as little as $5. It allows you to get direct ownership, fast settlement, 24/7 trading. UX308 is listed on many global exchanges. And I believe that this is it's an O. I believe it's an O. If I'm not pronouncing it correctly, I apologize, but I believe it's an O because this looks like a 0. Anyways, it's recently listed on Gate, KuCoin, and MEXC. And if you guys want to learn more about it, or you guys actually want, or if you guys are retail and this is something interesting to you, make sure to follow them on X. Really cool. They're also powered by Tezos and ArcX, which made some pretty big announcements as well. And again, they're UK's first regulated RW exchange, etc. But again, if you guys are interested, go ahead and check them out. If not, no worries. I think it's pretty cool though. And this is the power of tokenization, most definitely. It allows you to have access to untapped markets that you wouldn't have access to before. So shout out to Uranium.io. Now let's get into Solana. Solana eyes 66% block size bump with new developer proposal as network demand grows. Hold on. I lost my place. So basically what's happening here is developers propose an upgrade to increase block compute capacity by 66%. The increase aims to handle growing demand for block space from DEXs, MEV systems, restaking protocols, and heavier applications. Now, with that being said, they're doing a lot better than Ethereum is. Now, our next story is going to be for Miss Ellie. The Genius Act effects at work, plus Anchorage is launching a stablecoin issuance platform. Everybody is into stablecoins right now. That just is the deal. So basically, Etna Labs, ENA, partner with Anchorage Digital to launch USDTB. It's the first Genius Act compliant, federally regulated stablecoin, and Anchorage is the only federally chartered crypto bank. So we already have a crypto bank, which is pretty interesting. Etna is backed by Fidelity, Binance Labs, Franlink Templeton, Bybit, and OKX. And then we got the President's Working Group. President's Working Group on Digital Assets has completed the 100-day AD report. It will be released publicly on July 30th. America is now leading on the way for digital asset policy. With that being said, mark your calendars for July 30th. Why? Well, because we're going to get announcements from the current administration on crypto, and that's a good thing. Also, too, we got to talk about the Fed. Jerome Powell has not stepped down yet, but it is rumored that he is going to. And with that being said, the Fed's next interest rate decision will be on July 30th. Rates expected to remain steady, which he needs to go because they need to lower rates. There's no reason why they shouldn't. Markets see a September 17th rate cut as likely, and traders will watch for clues in July's statement or Powell's press conference. So stay tuned for that. Again, so we have two really, really important dates on the 30th. We have the working groups. We've got the working groups a report that will be released on July 30th, and we've got the Fed rate decision on July 30th. So mark your calendars. There's going to be volatility. Also, Trump is going to tour the Federal Reserve, ramping pressure on the Powell campaign. So they can only fire Powell if he broke the law or did something bad. And allegedly, I believe they spent like $2.5 billion on this stupid building or something. I have no idea. But things are going to get interesting with that. And we do have to talk about AI really, really quickly. Trump signed 3 executive orders on AI, accelerating permitting to build data center infrastructure. I was talking to CryptoFace, but he says data center stocks have been doing really, really well, promoting the export of American AI models abroad and protecting Americans from woke AI models driven by radical left ideology and the expense of accuracy. Oof. Now, with that being said, AI, the problem with AI is that there's a human coding it. So there's going to be some sort of bias in there. So it's going to be interesting to see how that happens. But anyways, you guys, I got to get going. I got a lot of meetings today, a lot of content. I'm also not having a great today. A bit sad, but sending you guys love and light. Thank you so much for sticking around. Bye-bye. All right, bye, guys. I got to make some more content for you. Thank you.